Město Sarn. Město mnoha příležitostí a tajemství. Takže zdravím všechny, co se tady zase vítejte u dalšího pokračování mého osobního katalogování příběhu této hry, plus pár nějakých bojových momentů v nějakých těch lokacích, kde jsou monstra, ne moc příběhu a na vyplnění, když někam cestuju. A budeme v dnešní napůl díle, napůl kompilaci různých sestříhaných momentů a konverzací projdeme třetí akt. Momentálně at this point nevím, jak přesně bude dlouhý. Doufám, že to bude míň než 3 hodiny. Protože jestli to bude delší než 3 hodiny, tak bych to pravděpodobně musel rozpůlit a to se mi moc nechce. Takže uvidíme, jak dlouho to bude trvat. Takže teď v té úvodní sekci projdeme tady pravděpodobně jednu zónu, dostaneme se do nějakého toho Sarn encampmentu, což je už v podstatě takový obligátní městský stopping point. Prostě v každém aktu a tam si popovídáme se všema a dál uvidíme, co bude. Takže jdeme dál. Vylezli jsme tady z pyramidy, která byla, jejíž dno jsme našli v lese předchozího aktu.
Far too much baggage.
Too much stuff. Všiml jsem, že můžeme dát 6 skillíků místo 5. Což je velmi pohodlný, protože to summonuju po 2. Už se si všimnul 4slotových itemů, že dropujou relativně často. Takže už jsem se konečně do té fáze dostal. Wow. Guard Captain. Ne Captain Artery, ale nikdo jiný. Ty nemáš helmu? Jo, ten týpek nemá helmu. On mi nemůže... Já do sebe můžu nechat sekat celou tu dobu a mně se v podstatě vůbec nic moc nestane. Ať se nějak konečně rozjel. Mně stačí udělat jenom tohle a je po něm. No, to je docela cute. Což v tomhle světě moc dlouho nevydrží. Hi.
I don't mean to sound ungrateful, but we've no time for talk. Tolman was out here with me and now Piety has him. They're headed for the crematorium. I've no chance against Piety and your blackguards, but you're another matter entirely. Please, you found it in your heart to rescue me. Tolman is just as worthy of your generosity.
Sure. Crematorium, lost in love. Yorska Kalesa, she needs to find Tolman. Cool. Tak. A tamhle už je nějaká zóna. A jdeme tady nejbližší schody. je nějaký údajný text. Grafité.
Mortality is the mother of life. We have turned our backs on her.
Cool. Nejmenovaný autor. Wave of Conviction. Nevypadá to povrchově jako něco, po čem bych toužil a budu to o tom rozhodovat někdy mimo závěr. Sarn encampment. Jej. Nějaký zdi lomeno hrázy, polohrázy. To hodně cool. The slums. Tam můžu píknout, aby to bylo jakože objevený. OK, tady je Ascendancy socha velká. Tady je arena. The Grand Arena. A tady jsou NPCs. OK, pochybně looking týpek tady. Velmi obdařená tribal ženská, pravděpodobně z té Makanui. Tady je Clarissa, safe and sound. And what the fuck happened to you? Wow. Hej, nic jiného tu není. Tady je teleport zde. Mám takhle takový Včko. V podstatě jenom obejdeme městský blok, který tam zahrazoval. A prostě tady je mluvil k krematoriu, tak to bude tady ta zóna tady. Tady prostě je to někam do města, nevím, co by tam bylo zajímavého, nebo ta mapa vypadá, že tam nic není. Ne, už máme nastřádano pár už věcí, tady těch věcí už mám nastakováno dost. 10 orpů v alchymii. Není až tak dávno dozadu, co se mi o tom mohlo jenom zdát. Tak, se obeznámíme se všema ve městě a zeptáme se Clarissy možná něco?
Yes. You're alone.
Ještě jsem tam nebyl. Okay. Hodně pochybně vypadající Wanda. Nějaká nová flaška? Stibnite flask. Krajnice Smoke Cloud. Který dává evasion rating. Okay. Kolosální flašky. Na 30, kterou jsem překročil již. Že s tímhle si na mě nevyzrajete.
Watch yourself.
Gemy jsem žádný nenašel, neodemknul. A co seš ty, kámo? What the fuck?
Keep your distance, Exile. The name's Grigor, and when you've had your eyes fill of my twisted visage, how about you turn those fine jellies of yours eastward? Yes, you've brought Clarissa home to us, and once again I see she pesters me with pity. There's only so much broth, so many bouquets that a man can take. For a criminal, Clarissa has a strangely soft center. Still, I'd rather not see that heart of hers harden. See if you can find that lost boy mate of hers. With him around, Clarissa doesn't have as much time to bother me.
Ezomites?
Death came to town. The roaring Ezomites wore red. The red of blood. The red of the fray. Death came to town. The crying Ezomites wore black. The black of disease. The black of dismay. Death came to town. The silent Ezomites wore grey. The grey of twilight. The grey of decay. Only the Isles of Scoth were spared. Once a backwater of my proud civilization, now all that remains of the Ezomites. Goodbye, exile.
Cool. Wait. Usesl se tu někde ten? Ne, tam ten týpek je pořád jenom v tom druhém aktu. Takže
Matamor Patur thanks you, exile, for returning our Clarissa to us. She is the gentle heart of this place, a spirit still capable of love in this wasteland of hatred. Yet that gentle heart remains in jeopardy. Tolman isn't deserving of Clarissa, but she'll not smile until he's by her side.
Ebony Legion, what is that?
Dominus and his Ebony Legion arrived some time ago.
Ah,
Now the blackguards scour Sarn like hungry maggots on a carcass. What are they looking for? Only that which is best left unfound.
oh
Why are you
duh.
still standing there?
Teď tenhle ten týpek.
A stranger walks into a town with a lost lover in tow. Sounds like the beginning of a jest, which I bloody wish it were. Problem is, we're still one doe-eyed lover short, which ain't much good to anyone. They tend to come in pairs, you see. Since you seem to be in the good deeds business, how about throwing a Tolman into the bargain?
How about the slums?
The slums are east of here. Used to house the unwashed of the Empire a couple centuries back. Now it's home to the walking ulcers and sores of this poor city.
On prodává zbraně a tak. Tady ty stíno zbraně jsou, tady koukám, hodně prevalent. Tohle už vypadá víc advanced. Tohle to pokryje dokonce celé tělo, ku příkladu. Ale ty rukavici, který budu potřebovat, tak dávají armor a energy shield najednou. Jsou ale od 32 až, což je relativně blízko. Můžu zhodněkovat Black Glass Blur's Bow. A za Blacksmith 8 Blacksmith Whetstoneů. 1 za 3 armor scrapy, který mám tak 30, takže to bych měl 10krát, za tohle 3krát, takže... Půl Glass Brawler Bowblu za všechny armor scrapy, co mám. Takže potřebujete těch věcí 60 aspoň na jeden tenhle. What? Prostě tahle ta věc, jestli jej někdy budu mít hodně, tak to se budu hodně divit.
Don't do anything I would.
Jo, vlastně.
Come over here.
Ještě prodáme mu věci. Tato plethora věcí.
Bring me back something nice, huh?
Tak. No. dál se máme stavit tam. Tady jsou ty slums. The City of Sarn. Prostě první oblast, prostě celé město. I když je to jenom jedna zóna. Spíš bych to pojmenoval Sarnské jižní doky. Nebo něco takového. A harsh light on harsh sights. 24. The slums. The wind whistles and winds here now. Začínáme do 23, 24. A jestli pattern z předchozí, jak to bude stejný, tak budeme končit tak na 30 až 35. Já už jsem na 32, tak je čas si v této oblasti udělat eventuálně 40 aspoň. A uvidíme, co tohleto celá ta chujovina má pro nás připravenýho. Takže to bude pro teďko ode mě všechno a uvidíme se v dalších příběhových částech. Jsme na druhé straně krematoria.
I'm so glad you could make it, my lady. There are answers inside you that I'd like to see.
Whoa. Já se na to půjdu hezky z dálky, to vůbec nevadí.
I'll show you what stuck up really means.
Jo, to dává docela hodně.
Enough of this.
Done.
That's impressive.
Sure. Jo, Talmer už je totálně kaput. Craftsman's ode to fresh hope and new love. Hop. Přinesem to málo, co máme.
Poor Tolman. I made this bracelet for him when he first arrived here. Idiot said he'd never take it off. I called him a liar. He didn't, though. Not once. I need to give you something. I asked a lot of you out there in the slums. More than I should have. You tried. And that's all we exiles can ever hope to do.
Sewer keys.
Those keys unlock the gates to the sewers. Tolman found them. Figure that in the worst of times, people will hide their wealth in the worst of places. We were never game to test his theory. Not with the Undying down there. But you're strong. Stronger than any of us here. I don't think you need to fear the dark.
Okay.
Sorry, Hello.
Ty budeš nešťastný.
I no longer dream when I sleep. I have a nightmare. The same nightmare over and over. The mirror. It's never my reflection looking back. The first time that mirror appeared to me, it was Cole I saw. A rapist from Oriath I had the displeasure of sharing a pen with in Gravisius's stockade. Piety took him for her experiments, and that night I saw her handiwork while I slept. This time it was Tolman, flesh dried to leather, organs shrunk to husks, blood trickling through his skeleton like red dust in an hourglass. It's piety's gift to me, that mirror. At least I won't be seeing Clarissa the next time I look into it. Make sure it's not you I see either. I walked halfway across this forsaken continent because of an ode. Of jewels and eternity, it's called. For twinkled promises of jewels and eternity, the gemling queen gave her heart and body to the king of shades for one more day in the sun. The last day in the sun. Can I help you? I walked halfway across this forsaken continent because of an ode. Of jewels and eternity, it's called. For the gemling queen gave her heart and body to the king of shades for one more day in the sun. The last day in the sun. That's but a portion of the full epic. The gemling queen lived, and she's the enigma behind the fall of the Ezomites and the Eternals both. Look to the Solaris Temple to the northeast. Find the gemling queen's remains before piety does, and destroy them.
Cool. Takže budeme.
Now you must leave me.
Takže budeme rabovat hrobku. Super. Ježiš, ty něco chceš. What did I do?
Tolman's dead then. Another victim of piety's cruelty. Perhaps he escaped lightly. Look upon Grigor to see what life entails under piety's influence. Let me offer you something. In recognition of all that you have done for us. We shall mourn Tolman's death as we shall treasure Clarissa's life.
Hey. The girl survived, to je to nejhlavnější. A dostal jsem gemy, příval skill gemu. Curse... Tam nemám spec. Curse za target znova. Curse. To jsou všechny curse, vole? Cast an aura. Aura that adds fire damage to the attacks and spells. And adds lightning damage to the attacks of you and your allies. Makes us deal more lightning damage. A to je 50% many. 13, 32. To je 45 dohromady a ještě 50, mi zbyde 5%. Mi zbyde 5% many. Což bude tak jeden spell, mana poťák, jeden spell, mana poťák. Takže bych musel vyloženě už něco vyřadit. Je v podstatě jako Herald of Ash, protože ten providuje fire damage based on your physical damage a to je ta hlavní věc. Že v podstatě poskytuje bonusový damage. Takže místo toho hodil bych tam třeba ten lightning damage. Abych byl víc alignutý na elektriku specificky. Debuff. Cast an order that multiplies damage over time. And increases. Já žádný dotky nemám. Get a bonus damage to critical track chance. Next critical. Nejsem moc. Let's predict lower half of your life. I'll take this.
General Gravisius demands absolute obedience from his blackguards, meaning he's surrounded himself with cowards and lackwits, unable to lift a finger without orders.
General
if you're
Gravisius.
able, traverse the river and murder Gravisius in his own barracks. He'll be ripping the very mind from the skulls of our enemies.
Okay. General Gravisius. Další postava v tomto celým. Najednou se to všechno začíná hodně rozjíždět.
Clarissa will weep for Tolman. She must. The cloud is darkest before the rain. Grigor straddles two worlds. One foot planted on this soil, one in the dirt of spirit and shadow. When you speak with him, be sure to know from which world his words arise.
Purity Rebellion?
It's an often told story among the Karui, how Vol of Thebris bent his knee to my ancestor, King Kalm, and promised freedom in return for war. While Vol raised his Purity Rebellion in the heart of the Empire, Kalm took Lord Lion Eye's head and the southern coast all the way to Siren's Cove. It was the greatest conquest the Karui have ever seen.
Takže Vol spustil rebeli tady uvnitř v Sarnu a okolí a Kalm udělal ten conquest v aktu 1, který jsme viděli.
If I knew how to cross the river safely, I'd be wearing Gravisia's head on my belt.
Yeah,
There is nothing else.
good point.
I'll miss a boy. He was always up for a laugh, whether it was at his expense or not. But I wouldn't miss that Clarissa more. Argan's the name, by the way. And it's my honour to welcome you to dirty old Sarn, the metropolis of opportunity. The opportunity to make something of yourself, or the opportunity to have a very messy death.
Pravda.
Victaria was a poet what ended up leading a rebellion,
Victaria.
right under the nose of Emperor Chittis. But here's what really interests me. Our wordsmith was quite the talented larcenist as well. Pulled off the heist of the century, in the name of the people, of course. 3 finely crafted platinum busts, commissioned by Chittis for his favourite trio of generals. Victario and his coppers hold up in the sewers. Now that you have Clarissa's keys, perhaps you'd be inclined to search out those heroic busts for me. I'm sure I can make it well worth your while.
Sure. Proč ne?
I was Clarissa's guardian angel back in Oriath. Put food on the table in return for a bit of light work. I try to keep her out of trouble as best I can here, but Sarn's full of secrets, and Clarissa's full of curiosity. She's just so ample, is our Marimore. In my mind, you'll find no saucier specimen of womanhood. It's the tattoos and that fancy talk she does. Intoxicating. She's a cool one, though.
S tím bych souhlasil.
I can't imagine what that poor bastard's been through. It's a miracle Gregor hasn't completely lost his mind. Granted, he's lost 1 or 2 pieces along the way, but there's still plenty that's worth listening to.
Gravisius.
Gravisius is the mailed and bloodied right hand of Dominus. And I thought the Templar were meant to be spiritual men of deepest humanity. You notice the sarcasm in my tone, right? Had to smuggle a fellow out of Theopolis once. Got a bit too friendly with Gravisius's wife, he did. Every blackguard was out on the streets looking for him, so I had to think lateral-like. We took to the drains and didn't put our heads above the pavement until we sniffed the sea. A grubby bloody job it was, but worth it for the coin he paid. You want a piece of Gravisius? Sometimes the only way up is down.
Purity Rebellion, getting up.
I'm no history scholar, but I know that Emperor Chittis was overthrown by Vol of Thebris in the so-called Purity Rebellion. But Vol had the shortest reign of any internal emperor. The Cataclysm sort of that.
Okay, the Cataclysm. Že něco se stalo vyloženě. Okay.
Stay out of the shadows.
Anyway. Tak, to by bylo všechno prozatím. Victoria's secret busts. Hidden in the sewers. Sever the right hand to General Gravisius. Na druhé straně řeky až tady. To je jako hodně velká štreka. The Gemling Queen. Její hrobka tady někde nahoře v templu. To je taky hodně slušná štreka. A tady ten labyrint, který by dávalo smysl, když je to od nějakého toho emperora z minulosti, že v tom jeho městě, kde odkud vládnul, že to bude někde tady. Nějaká secret lokace. Takže to tu asi někde bude taky. Well. Takže to bude prozatím všechno. Já prozkoumám dopředu, co to bude, tady tím směrem, co to bude, a asi nejdřív vyřídíme hrobku tady na té straně řeky a pak se přesuneme na druhou stranu řeky a všechno, co obnáší tam ta oblast. Takže se zase prozatím loučíme. Takže uvidíme se na další story.
Need something? Maramoa, I've heard that the Karui have this philosophy. Makanui, the way of the warrior. I don't think you could get any more Makanui than her. She took it upon herself to look after me, before Tolman arrived. Saved my skin more than once. I'm fine with that. Beats being on her bad side. Hagen likes to think he was my kind old uncle back in Theopolis. Granted, the work he gave me saved my parents and I from starvation. This was after my father lost the family fortune at the card table, and we had to give up the manor in the country for a flea box in Theopolis. But he's not half as generous as he makes out. When Hagen gives you something, you can be damned sure that he's getting his pound of flesh in return. No one should have to go through what Grigor has. I help him as much as he'll let me, but he's a proud one, and so he should be. He's survived what has destroyed too many of us. Halfway across the world, and yet the tie between Vanilla and I endures. That was Piety's real name back in Theopolis, before her rise to greatness. Vanilla sold her thaumaturgy in the day, her body at night. Sought after, she was. Enough so to become one of my best buyers. But money never meant much to Vanilla. No, she was striving for something better, nobler. Used to tell me that life needn't be this hard. It's time you all realized that. I bet she fed Tolman the same bloody line. The blackguards talked about Piety's precious gems being infected with nightmare. Tolman, what did she do to you? Vanilla was arrested for consorting with the unholy and condemned to the pyre. This was before the banishments. Dominus shared a last supper with her, heard her confession. Most think Vanilla earned Dominus's patronage on her back. I don't. Vanilla gave Dominus her better life and got a new name in return. You can count on one thing. Piety's grand future won't include the likes of you, me, or Tolman. You find a high enough spot and you can see the Lunaris temple over the river, at the western edge of the city. Since the blackguards arrived, the clouds above that temple have been stained with the blackest of smoke. You can see it sometimes when the westerly blows. It stinks worse than death. On the fall of the Empire, the historians are deathly silent. After the Purity Rebellion, the Kingdom of Kalm blockaded Oriath, preventing any trade or correspondence with the mainland. It's said that Kalm planned to invade. Only when the Karui retreated did Oriath get any news from Rayclast, but by that time there wasn't really anyone left to tell the tale. I know. So strange that stone and metal should move and live as you and I. Still, I read that Chitis's sculptors used to soften their materials with thaumatic sulfite, a byproduct of gem refining. It's the only connection that I can fathom between the cataclysm and the living sculptures of Sarn. Chitis thought that the gemling was the pinnacle of human progress. These glorious gems have brought us within spitting distance of godhood, he once said. The High Templar at the time, Vol of Thebris, thought they were a perversion. He wanted the Empire made pure, cleansed of the stain of thaumaturgy. You look at Sarn and tell me which one you think was right. And while you're out there, look out for monkeys. No, not those bloody monkeys from Frisia. These ones are painted on the walls. I think you'll find them enlightening.
What are you looking at? Maramoa's sure of herself. And that kind of surety gets you killed in Sarn. You and all those around you. Hagen's got the right idea. Don't believe in anything that you can't trade or eat. I wouldn't rely on Hagen in a fight, and I wouldn't put too much faith in what he says. But he has one highly useful asset. His obsession with self-preservation. If Hagen deems you of use in keeping his fat self alive, he'll do almost anything for you. I tried to penetrate the Solaris temple in the northeast. Almost got myself killed by the bloody ribbons that guard the place. Bizarre, floating tapestries they are. Creatures of cloth and thaumaturgy. Fortunately, a few legionnaires got in the way. While the ribbons eviscerated them, I ran straight into Gravisius. He dragged me over the bridge to the Lunaris temple in the west and put me in Piety's tender care. Didn't say a single word to me the whole time. I was nothing but a spoil of war to him.
Hagen is a man of many claims, and those claims seldom dance harmoniously together. A lie is a death sentence in Namakanui, so I was raised a daughter of truth. Hagen is a son of self-interest. He's no warrior, nor spirit singer. He's a korangi. I don't know the right word in Oriathan, but in Karui it means he who wins wars with false promises. Traversing the sewers under the river. I should have thought of that myself. Yet, the more of a picture you paint of that undying concoction in the sewers, the less I want to see it. If you manage to destroy it, expect a storm of undeath to descend upon you. The dark is their home, and there'd be nowhere more homely to the undying than a pitch-swathed drain under a river. This ribbon spool device. Why would the blackguards want to protect it? And why on this side of the river? What is its import to them? And why have they not taken it back to their encampment? I give you only questions, I know. You found this near the Solaris Temple? Then perhaps that's where you should look for your answers.
The Beatles poet could hide his spoils from Chitters, but not from us, eh? I knew you was the exile for the job. I'm sure you've been more than compensated already from Victario's stockpiles, but here's a little extra. Care of something I found under a dead man's bed. Why? Just because I like you.
Tak. Jsme tady. Velice jsem tu si svojí armádou zbytku. Eternal laboratory. Oh, Lady Dior. Wait a minute. Yeah, ona není mrtvá.
You are not a cockroach. Strange. Inundated with cockroaches I am. Black ones, 4 limbs, nasty, spiky things. Are you spiky? If so, my ribbons will pluck your spines. Malachi liked spines. Liked my spine. Pretty spine. Bejeweled and bountiful. Enough to make an empire weep. Do you weep, not a cockroach? I do. Tears are infinite. Why, on this very day I found a new reason to cry. What is that you have? Not a cockroach. My ribbons spool.
Yep.
Those black ones wanted them, my ribbons. Wanted to wrap the city in black ribbons. Now they are my ribbons forevermore. Forevermore. I hate forever. I could tear happy ever after from bards' bleeding tongues. You're still here, not a cockroach. Oh, gratitude, yes. I should give you a token. Token? What token? This? Is this to your liking?
Random věci. Dá se mi kurantní. Oranžový, epic level náhradní, ale... Strength a intelligence, tak... Třeba.
The cockroaches will come again. They want the twist. That cockroach emperor. The other bugs shout his name. Ravisius. Cross the river, squash the emperor cockroach in his nest. The bridge. It is barricaded. That spawns a tricky question. Questions. Questions. I asked too many questions. Chit has told me so. I asked where it all went. Our feculence. He made them show me. Under the river. The sewers from this side to that. Filthy, fetid tunnels like a rower's cloaca. A black place. Crawling with the undying. Once beautiful and arrogant gemlings. Now the foul waste of the Empire. Fitting, isn't it? I like you, not a cockroach. I like that you listen. It would annoy me if the Undying murdered you. Formetic sulfite. That's what you need? You have some already? You are a resourceful umbug now, aren't you?
Yep.
Give it to me. I was all eyes and ears when Malachi worked. I will make something of your formetic sulfite. I will forge an infernal talc that will bring the most furious of light to the undying darkness. A dash of arcanity, a pinch of insanity, a whisper of profanity, and the infernal talc is now ready.
Infernal talc.
It's the most explosive of powders. A sprinkle, the gentlest of dustings of infernal talc will provoke gems to a molten rage. For the undying, the very sun will rise within their flesh. They will burn for their sins, not a cockroach. They will burn. I was the Emperor's favorite for a time. But Chitus had many favorites. He filled the scepter of God with favorites. Every now and then, he cleared away the clutter. Those who pleased him, they were given to his lords and generals. Those who did not were given to his thaumaturgists. I talked too much, asked too many difficult questions. I was gifted to Malachi. My dear, troubled Malachi.
To Malachi.
I loved Malachi. He gave me gems, divine jewels for his gemling queen. For his dead queen. But I didn't want me dead. Malachi begged. For him, for the Empire. I chose me. Selfish me. The Empire died, and I live. I live, and live, and live, and live. Goodbye.
Okay. General.
Pretty as porcelain, but her mouth spins like the potter's wheel. That's how I once described Diala. Yet on this day, my lady is as ravishing as a nightmare, radiant as the fullest moon. Diala is my gemling queen, and we shall rule side by side over the world that will soon come to be.
Takže tady Malachi strávil ten čas. The Reverie Device.
Tear down the walls that imprison the mind. That is what the gems do. That is their true virtue. the moment my fingertips brushed the cool, silken plains of that fast jam. I felt it. My skull ached, as if its contents were growing, pressing against the bone, searching for a way to break free. That night, once the wine had dulled the pain enough to allow the onset of sleep, the dreams began. I have not been without them since, nor would I be. Every spark of thaumaturgy that I wield, every device that I forge, every creature that I transfigure, I owe to these lessons cloaked in nightmare. From whence do these precepts hail? Certainly not the mundane grey between my ears. I possess only one reference that bears faith, translated with unquestionable clarity by that idiot savant, Isius Perandus, the beast. Duriani of the Vow knew the truth. Soon now, so shall I. Malachi.
No. Nějaký Nightmare rozdává znalosti, Malachi se jich chytá, jestli je vědom, odkud to všechno pochází a opakovaně napříč různýma aktama se vrhá střemula do prostě všelijakých experimentů a pokusů, od kterých by všichni ucouvali. Kde tohle to všechno skončí, kdo ví?
I awoke, feverish and barely conscious. I set to drawing these maps through the sable hours. By morning my fingers ached, my eyes burned, yet still I found no rest. The reverie commanded its rendering. The reverie device now stands completed. I've placed the first of my maps within its receptacle. I've taken my maiden voyage into nightmare. I know now that which sent me this precious gift. It knows me, expects my return. It would be foolish to disappoint. Malachi.
Okay. That is all. Ta mapa vypadá, že by mohla na něco být, ale zase, že ji to zatím budu muset nechat. Oh well. To je prozatím všechno. Malachi. Teď spálíme tady tohoto blokádu, dostaneme se sem, tady zabijeme týka a tady z druhé strany tohoto půjde nějak vyřešit. So... let's get to it right away. So likely. The Undying Blockade. Žerte talk. Okay, you have used infront talk to restore an Undying Blockade. Get Ebony Barracks. Well, tak jsme v Ebony Barracks. Tam, kde General Gravicius. Traverse the sewers and assassinate General Gravicius before he begins his assault on Sarn and Cannon. To by bylo hodně odvážný. Tomu samozřejmě nemůžeme dovolit. Než párkrát vygrinduju oblast mezi dialogy, tak tak ho rychle vyhledám. Hodně armor reku a weapon reku. Kde by si jsi? A tamhle.
God gave this world to man, not to you, little girl.
Not not to do it.
My place is at God's side. Where were your journey, exile?
Well, I don't know.
Men like you shall not inherit Rayclast.
Yeah, you tell him. Yeah. You have slinked your killing criticism, but that you have been leading with assault is gigantic, not a matter of. Yep. Něco tady víc vzadu? Asi ne. To je tady. Lunaris Temple. Tak ke každému soláru musí být Luna, I suppose. Třeba tam bude někde teleport do blízkého východu. Polished surfaces reflect brutal efficiency. Depravity is boundless. Teleportík. Šuš. Tam aby se nepředtrhnul s tím rapidním stormem. Všechny gemy se level upnuly najednou.
I have nothing more to give.
Wait, je to vůbec? Je to někde teleport? A najít ho to jako mi prej nedají. Poli. Já chci jenom ten teleport. Give it to me. Mám již hodně, stejně vezmu. Aha, teleport. Vchod do levelu 2. Tak. I can travel over there. Gravissius is dead.
You are the true spirit of the Makoru, the shark. Not the cowardly beast that sinks its teeth into the lonely swimmer. You strike the Waikoama, the canoe, spilling a feast of men into the water. Hunters turned hunted, that you dine on at your pleasure. Have this, Makoru.
Hey, she's a silk skill game. Třeba to budu řešit později. A je to.
There's still prey out there. An overreaching witch floundering out of her depth. Happy hunting. Talakoda.
Mate, stay out of the shadows. You've done for Gravissius. If only I could get word to that lad I smuggled away from the general's wife at the time. The good widow would need a sympathetic shoulder to cry on. Stay out of the shadows. They bite.
Wow.
Yes. Gravissius dined with us once. This was before my father's gambling debts caught up with him. I dined with him again in Theopolis prison the night before my exile. He wasn't so polite that time. Thank you. That's one memory I can now put to rest.
You're welcome.
Be careful.
Gregor, I found that Lady Diala, she's very much alive.
The Gemling Queen? She's... impossible. How did she survive? Why is she not one of the Undying? No, these questions can wait. There's a more pressing one. Is she safe from the Ebony Legion? You've been busy. With the spool back where it belongs, the ribbons should be able to keep the Ebony Legion at bay. We've both seen what they can do to a man. Whether you were saving your own skin or thinking of others, it matters little to me. You succeeded where I did not. You have stood in the presence of the Gemling Queen. I can only hope to meet her in my nightmares. Despite everything else you've done, to let piety live is to threaten the existence of every living thing on this continent. Look to the west of Gravissius's camp. You'll find piety in the Lunaris temple, cowering behind her desecrations.
To jsem v podstatě byl.
The Eternals revered sun and moon as the two eyes of their god. The right eye judging Solaris, the left eye merciful Lunaris. I can't imagine that god being overly merciful when she finds out what piety's been doing in her temple. Have fun elsewhere.
Yeah. Piety spends. Piety set up a laboratory in Lunaris temple where she's conducting horrific experiments on the exiles. Gregor is asked to find her there and kill her. Yep. Piety bude mít své grand finále v Lunarisu tady, level 29. Sama voda možná level 30. Já mezi tím level 43, takže you saw nothing. Takže se uvidíme u dalšího dialogu. Někdy. Tak pak to nemáme v knihovně. Old Man Siosa.
Please, do not be alarmed. I am neither monster nor murderer, though that is the duality of existence that defines Sarn these days. My name is Siosa Fuanga, and I have the bleak honor of being the sole scholar to the Imperius Intellection, this grand repository of knowledge you see about you. May reason preserve us.
Okay.
In more mundane circumstances, it would be preposterous to ask this of you, an utter stranger, but given that I don't know in which century I might see another pair of flesh and bone hands, there's a door, you see, concealed behind the shelves. It leads into the archives. That's where Isius Perandus concealed his golden pages. Can you see how maddening that would be for me? No, of course you can't. Ridiculous of me to... Suffice to say that they are beyond my reach. 4 varlish texts they are, of priceless historical insight. Please, find my friend's golden pages and bring them to me. You will be rewarded. I vow it before the ancestors.
It's his parents. By
the ancestors. It's good to see fresh words in front of me. Now, my translation skills are not what Isius were. I can achieve a meager paraphrase at best. But a little knowledge is better than none, is it not? Let us begin. This tapestry of truth is a threadbare cloth indeed, but at least you have allowed me to begin the first few stitches in its restoration, and to settle the memory of a dear friend. In return, allow me to give you this, a little practical wisdom to improve your lot.
Oh. Gimme! A support gimme. Další várka support gameu. I can definitely use something like this. Damage leached as life. Prostě ten damage prostě jako life ray. Možná to šovnul ten reap. That's a shield loot. Lightning. To by se hodilo na ten ark. Nevím, jaký mají normí týpci prostě lightning resist, ale jestli nějaký by to bylo de facto zvýšení damage. Tady to už solidně zvyšují damage. S tím jsem se už zabýval jednou. Jestli. Že v tom se radši nebudu hrabat. Zkusím na ten life leech a šoupu to na reap asi. Tell me about the archives.
It is the Karwi way to observe nature in nature. The fish without the sea is no longer a fish. It is dinner. The Eternals did not see it that way. An Eternal catches the fish, guts the fish, preserves the fish, and places it in a box. Only then does the Eternal feel he truly understands the fish.
Okay. So the painting, so he's getting gathered.
It was a Karwi Motiata that discarded my failing body of flesh in favor of canvas and oil. An ancient song and a momentary lapse in judgment that I've had more than enough time to regret.
No, můžeš pomáhat mě, takže I'll take it. Okay, translation number 1.
My word. Valish contextualized syntax is a slippery eel indeed. Let me see if I can grab it by the gills. They carried their virtue gems to Doriani's bed. No, that's not quite right. Ah, yes. Doriani's cradle. The historian finishes that it was a price they needed to pay to ensure a Valish future. A cradle of virtue gems? What sort of Valish future did Doriani hope to ensure?
The Cradle of Virtues. Page 2. Question, Mr. Co je Doriani?
I suppose every civilization has its Doriani, its Malachi, men of divine talent and demented ambition.
Ah.
Without them, history would be a far less interesting place.
Jo, že dementovaný géniové.
Splendid.
Page 2.
Let's see what this page has to offer us. It talks of Queen Atsiri. Now, here's a portentous line. She drenches her altars with the blood of those deranged enough to question her vision. The next piece is a real eye-crosser, but I believe it refers to a communion. Something to do with the harvest moon? Again, Doriani seems at the heart of it. Good. This line I can read without issue. This will be our final night of fear, our final night of suffering. Sacrifice, communion, the harvest moon. An unsettling combination.
Alright. Page 3.
Oh.
Wait. More questions. Queen Atsiri, what do you know about her?
Malachi would never have risen so far without the patronage of an emperor like Chitus. It would appear that Doriani and Queen Atsiri shared a similar relationship. It was said of the beautiful Atsiri that she wished to see her likeness reflected in the still waters of history. Chitus was no less self-impressed. Of all the sins, vanity is the most hideous.
Page 3.
My. This first line is frighteningly clear. Our queen is dead. Doriani is dead. So many have fallen, so many have changed. The latter text is almost indecipherable. It practically hums with agitation. Let me see. I can make out the words sleep, nightmare, and the beast. Whatever that may be. Our historian finishes with, "We have succeeded where our forebears did not. We have failed ourselves." I need not imagine the fall of the Val. I saw the nightmare with my own eyes.
What is the cataclysm? To je ten kataklysm, který tam popisovali.
Sarn fell in the course of an hour, no more. A tempest raged down from the mountains and engulfed the city, throwing it into midday darkness. I saw madness in my colleagues' eyes, watched as the most rational men in the Empire jabbered and slavered and slaughtered each other. I witnessed Trinian, our gemling intellectus prime, engulfed by the radiance of his flaming cranial gem, and wither like a grape in the sun into a thing of desiccation and famishment. I've seen mountains spew fire in Ngamakanui. I've seen waves as tall as trees and winds that leveled warriors and walls alike. Nature is what nature is. There was nothing natural about the cataclysm.
Ale sesunulo se to z hory, jako lavina. Prostě ovlivnilo to celé město prostě z hory jako mrak, který se sune. Well, we know where to go next. Jestli tomu bude chtít přijít na klov, tak musíme se vyrazit směrem k té hoře.
Strange. I was put in charge of dating the most antiquated of texts. This parchment, it's a remarkable copy, but it's no original. Much younger. Oh my. Listen to this. My dearest Isius, I have been enlightened beyond expectation. Your work in translating these artifacts is worthy of the highest recompense, and thus I am delighted to offer you a position in my personal laboratory. Please do not give your escorts any consternation. I would be most pained to see such a precious asset damaged in any way. I very much look forward to working with you. Isius Perandus, your friend and admirer, Malachi.
Yep.
Poor Isius. Wherever you went, my pity goes with you.
To byla samozřejmě past. So the final question at the end of it all. Malachi.
How Malachi survived the Purity Rebellion, I don't know. He was at Emperor Vol's side before Chitis' corpse was even cold. I suppose Vol found him as difficult to refuse as Isius did.
Well,
go with care, friend.
You have delivered 4 golden pages. A společně jsme dešifrovali a zauvažovali nad věcma, který byly napsané. Well, to byla library. All the knowledge of the Empire could not save. Tak. Teďkon vstříc. Piety. Tak tohle ten dekanter, který tady má nějaký využití údajně, na který jsem úplně zapomněl. A pak vstříc tady ty věže. Pak mám tu nějaký širší pohled. Ne. Pak někde v okolí prostě bude hora. Pravděpodobně někde takhle tam tím směrem, když takhle půjdeme takhle. Takhle začínáme tady na pobřeží, pak se pohneme směrem tam. Nord, prostě severozápad. A tady je pak ten Sarn takhle. Že... Ať je to kamkoliv, tak přes ty všechny 3 akty cestujeme jedním kardinálním směrem. Prostě sever, severozápad. Prostě severozápadním směrem prostě je skoro přímka. Takže předpokládám, že ta hora bude na severozápadě, že cestujeme přímo k ní prostě celou dobu. No, vyřídíme dekanter, vyřídíme piety, pak ta věž, která vypadá, že bude finální, protože bych to tak, čekal bych to architektonicky a taky jsme na kraji mapy a pokud nebudeme cestovat až sem dolů pro some reason, tak jsme prošli celý Sarn v podstatě. Takže tady už není o čem prostě tady explorovat, tady diskutovat. Tady ty 3 lokace jsou level 29. Tady ty 2 lokace jsou obě 2 level 30. Takže prostě mohli to scalenout na 35 klidně, ale nechají to na 30, 31. Já s tím 43. No problém. Taky možná, než to dokončíme, tak bych mohl udělat ten Lord Labyrinth. Ten... Tam je ten nějaký Ascension, který bych si mohl vzít, ale zatím jsem to nevzal. Takže Ascension, pak Decanter, pak Piety, pak Wish. Asi v tomto pořadí. Takže uvidíme se u další části. Fairgraves. How did you get here?
Now there's a familiar face. Before you say anything, yes, I did try to kill you. Inexcusable. I allowed pragmatism to overcome honor in a moment of desperation. Please accept my deepest apologies. And what do you say? Can the two of us make a fresh start? Marvelous! Now, as you've clearly noticed, the All-Flame has given me another respite from oblivion. Alas, it's a partial success only. I am neither man nor spirit, living nor dead. A state that comes with some rather frustrating restrictions. I know we've only just been reacquainted, but to put no finer point on it, I need your help.
Okay. What do you want?
Interested, are we? Oh, splendid! In return, I have a gift or two that I may bestow upon you with a click of my translucent fingers. All you need do is furnish me with a crystal decanter and a juicy piece of fruit. Two humble items that remain agonizingly out of reach for a man in my peculiar situation.
Jo, jasně. Obyčejný věc. Ale hádejte co, já je už mám.
Look at the sheen on that plum. Is it not the most delectable fruit that you've ever seen? No? Perhaps the gloss of hope is for my eyes only.
Well, přinesl jsem ti tvoje smrti ovoce.
Will you look at that? The decanter spiritus.
Yep.
As exquisite today as when I found it all those years ago.
Decanter spiritus.
You may fault the man, but you can't fault his craftsmanship.
No, myslím, že taky udělal Malakaj.
Wondrous! Nothing bonds two souls more soundly than murder. For that reason alone, I knew you could be relied upon. Now, for a little amateur vintnering. Quick squeeze of the plum, like so, into the decanter. Oh my! Look how it transmutes the juice so swiftly, from material to spectral. Effortless. And what an aroma. Imminent death never smelled so sweet. I believe I shall call this fine concoction the Imperial Nightcap. Now, before I get too carried away, there's the small matter of your recompense.
Yes, what do I get? Give me. Prsten nějaký, ti seberu z ruky pravděpodobně. Třeba.
A toast to swift endings and promising new beginnings. Oh, and you might want to avert your gaze once I have quaffed this diabolical brew. I doubt that my return to solidarity will be a pretty one.
Já si předokážu představit.
As I used to say in the love dens of Trathus, bottoms up, girls. Oh my. Now that's an unusual sensation. Oh dear. Something is amiss. The All-Flame. It's... No. No. It's gone out. What am I... What are you? No. You cannot be.
I will not.
Goodbye. Quest complete. You have delivered the decanter spiritus and Chitus's plum to Captain Fairgraves and received the reward. Fairgraves' fate, however, remains a mystery. Well, to by byla jedna věc za to. A rovnou se můžeme pustit na tu druhou. Aspirants Plaza. A cesta za mým vzestupem nevím, jak bych to nazval česky. Prostě ta ascendancy. Ascending to a higher level. Všechny tyhle ty lokace.
Justice will prevail.
Justice will prevail. Takže vejdeme. A vy mezi tím uvidíte sestřih dialogů a dialogů při boss fightech a finální roomu samozřejmě. Takže já to budu procházet, všechny ty repetitivní boje, gigantické místnosti. S tom tím vás nebudu trápit, ani vás, ani sebe, když to budu koukat na to. Že v tom není v podstatě smysl na to koukat. Takže se uvidíme u dialogu a pak na druhé straně.
In the impressionable youth of my reign, I was encouraged to believe in the precious nature of my imperial blood. The divine claret, as one fool of a courtier would repeat with tiresome regularity. Unfortunately, my divine claret refused to pour from one cup to another. Try as I might, with a lovely procession of young and ever dutiful wives, my noble seed simply would not sprout. Who then to choose as my worthy successor? With the candidates on hand, I best or maniacal at worst, I found myself in quite the quandary. That's when fortune took me by the hand and led me to a forgotten tome on a forgotten shelf in the quietest corner of Sarn Library. A tome entitled Ancient Tradition Ascendancy. The rest, one might say, is history.
Sloanes lend strength to one's enemies.
Alright. Let's fucking do this, bitch.
Stand your ground. You are inexhaustible. Wisdom is the offspring of suffering and time.
Když už mi jde nemanat, tak Ečko funguje na hápka a těch mám téměř nekonečno, pokud mě nemák samotný nezabíjí hodně. Takže suck it.
The Asmeri were consummate survivors. They had to be, having been sired in the most inhospitable range of mountains in all of Rayclast. Unfortunate, some might say. I do not. I believe it was the making of them, and of us, their descendants. So it is no wonder that they developed the Lord's trial. With survival being a moment-by-moment concern, that harried people grew to understand power quite intimately. Strong leadership is able to bridge the chasm between existence and extinction. Poor leadership might see an entire tribe vanish into that same chasm. When the Asmeri descended from their mountains to conquer the fecund lands of central Rayclast, they thrived and multiplied with utmost alacrity in those more forgiving climes. For is it not poverty that teaches us how we might excel in times of plenty? The Emperor beckons, and the world attends. Make your mark. You are inexhaustible.
Yep.
Loyalty is a fire that spreads quickly if the forest is dry.
Další plaketka.
The custom of the Lord's trial was upheld throughout the founding years of the Empire. Veruso's successor, Caspiro, was a low-born legionnaire, the lone survivor of a labyrinth that claimed the lives of every high-born contender, including Veruso's only son. Caspiro proved to be every bit the emperor that Veruso was. Alas, the Lord's labyrinth was corrupted by those with the vanity to consider their blood more precious than their empire. Selfish blood breeds selfish times, and the Empire paid for it with its own blood, with the Knight of 1,000 Ribbons, with that most regal of cannibals, Emperor Romira. Not anymore. I, Izaro Frecius, shall return us to justice. I shall build the greatest Lord's labyrinth in Asmerian history, and my successor shall be chosen by the goddess herself. Only when the Lord's labyrinth is drenched in selfish blood can a true leader ascend the throne.
Okay. Hop. Všechno jsem naprošel. Inventář vyčištěný a hozený do stežky. Tuna materiálu, který půjdu prodat. A finální boss fight. Dostanu z něho unikátní item, který jsem už jednou dostal, 1 bodky z nějakého random týpka. Takže jo.
Our throne is the most devious trap of them all. Commit to your course. You are free.
Jade Hatchet, one-handed axe. Další treasure key. And dead. Oh shoot, all of you. Okay. Level 6. Well, to mi asi moc nepomůže, level 6. The Screaming Eagle. The eagle knows nothing but the scream and the strike. Interesting. Že něco relativně malýho. Tohle a tohle. Všechno ostatní je relativně velký. Jdeme na finále. Jej. Já mám vlastně jenom 2 klíče, on dropnul jenom 1. Myslel, že jich dropne víc, ale no, that's it. Yeah. Nope. And nope. Divine font. There is Word of Flames on it. I have my Word of Fury, což vychrluje oheň, takže... Jo, a nechci si to googlovat zbytečně a trávit s tím tu času. No, stejně většina z toho, který jsem viděl, nic moc nedělají. Takže... Altar of Ascendancy. Subklasa na... subklasa přídavná na... tu... Sion. Ascendant. OK. Protože si pamatuju z let zpátky, že většinou to byly 3 věci, nebo 2, ale teď je to prostě jenom 1. Well, nemusím si vybírat. Choose or something that say two ascendants is called the first time complete each labyrinth. Jo, to bylo těch několik, co tam bylo na výběr. Okay.
You are the sculptor, crafting your destiny with the clay of mind, body, and purpose.
Okay, thank you, Izara. Jo, tady vidím některé tyhle od těch ostatních asi, jo, takže já si můžu vybrat cokoliv z nich. Jasně. I see how it is. No a v podstatě kombinuju tohle týpka a tuhletu vičku. Si kombinuju tohle priesta a tu vičku v podstatě stylem. A jako statově to beru jako strength a intelligence. One passive skill point. Pak prostě Templar Ascendancy, Witch Ascendancy. Jo, Path of the Ascendancy a pak tady Path. Klik. A mám to tam. Well. Tohle to bude rozhodování hodně dlouhý na později, takže to si nechám pro sebe. Pak vám to někdy v průběhu budoucna. Takže jo, to bude pro tento labirint všechno a uvidíme se u dalšího questu.
I know of only one woman capable of such depravity.
So. Jsme tu. Piety at long last.
I see it now, Wonder Child. You are but a reflection, a mirror that I must now break. Damn you!
You should die 1,000 times over for what you've done.
Tower key. God will offer the door. Man must choose whether to open it. Is that it? Hromadné mrtvo, hromadné nářadí. Yep, that's it. Zaleguju dceru. Scepter of God. You found a hefty royal key. Drop the patty as she died. Perhaps Grigor knows what to do with it. Jo, vlastně. Jsem zapomněl, že mám tohle. Všichni chtějí mluvit. Grigor.
Piety dies amongst her abominations, her warped dream taunting her, maddeningly out of reach. As a poet, I'm fond of that creed of justice. Here, the executioner needs recompense.
Skill point.
Unfortunately, Piety was simply a puppet of a greater force. You've cut the strings, but the master remains. Dominus. That key you've picked up, I heard the blackguards talk of it. It's the one key to the Scepter of God on the northern edge of the blackguard encampment. Only Piety was permitted to carry it. Dominus accessed his laboratory at the summit of the tower via a pulley system rigged to the outside wall. That way will be barred to you. And I heard of no one, not even Piety, going in or coming out of the lower levels. Go with care, Exile. I can't imagine what's inside that tower if even Piety and Dominus feared to tread its steps.
Well.
When Piety was experimenting on me, my consciousness was mercifully fleeting. In those moments of numbing darkness, I met a presence. Intelligence, power, immensity beyond the limits of my pitiable mortal senses. To this creature, I was but a raindrop falling into the sea. I heard Piety speak to her lackeys of the beast. It is the source of her thaumaturgy and the object of her ambitions. I believe Piety's beast and that dark entity are one and the same. Wherever it is, whatever it is, the beast is the cause of my malformation. It would not be a stretch of reason to consider the beast the source of all malformation in Rayclast.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Se to začíná rýsovat. Nightmare Beast v nějaký hoře, prostě nedaleko odsud, je sourcem veškerýho zla. Okay. Hej, tam to neveskali, gonna experiment atop the Scepter of God. You spare this tower,
Wherever he is, I'm sure Tolman knows what you've done. I know you didn't do it for him, or for me. It doesn't matter. Piety's reign of cruelty is over. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Be careful.
You have claimed the most worthy of prey, Makoru. Piety, the mistress of corruption. I'm not saying the war is over, but you've given Rayclast a much-needed respite. Because of you, this land lives to see another dawn. And don't forget that you've done Grigor a justice of some magnitude. He will wish to speak to you.
Yeah, the Undying.
Citizens of the Sarn that was. The Undying have been around for hundreds of years. Left to their own devices, they'll likely survive for hundreds more. Still, they're not immune to mortality's touch. They can be killed, with some difficulty. Talakura.
Had a gun.
Piety's off to meet the Maker, is she? I'd love to be a fly on the wall of that little chat. Stay out of the shadows.
Okay, that's it for now. Well. Další zastávka Scepter of God.
This tower says it all. Pride killed the Eternal Empire.
Malachi, Laureate Thaumaturge to the Eternal Empire, the father of dreams. No ten týpek, jo? Jsi mi říkal, že tak nevypadá. Ok. Jde se nahoru.
My dear Chitters, the Empire has lived in fear and ignorance since its inception. Our Asmiri ancestors, in their arrogance, turned their backs on the lessons of the Val. The emperors before you lacked courage, lacked vision, paying lip service to eternity while scrabbling for approval and comfort within the prison of their meager mortal lives. You are not one of those emperors. You are Chittus the Great, the man who will make this empire truly understand the meaning of the word eternal. We shall build this thaumatocracy together, my emperor, gem by gem, immortal by immortal. Your devoted servant, Malachi.
Kdo jiný? Takže se to míchá úplně všude. Je zajímavé vědět, že tady Chittus strávil většinu svého času. Už tady mu došel ten dopis, očividně. OK. Dorazil jsem na Tower Rooftop. Dorazil jsem celý Sephiroth. Finální level Actu 3 32. Reálný level 44. Takže já myslím, že mám dostatečný náskok.
I offered the gift of exile, and you used it to reinvent yourself. I couldn't wish for a more potent gift.
I used the exile to reinvent myself and make myself stronger than before.
Submit, heretic!
Far too much baggage.
Pořádně nevím, kde přesně jsem.
Have you ever seen the true face of God, Exile? Nightmare prevails! This world is an illusion, Exile.
Jak si nemyslím, že ten svět je iluze. Goodbye, Dominus. Never mind. Oh, zombies? Go for it. Dominus ascended. We're like Malachi ascended.
Nothing more to give. I prefer the view from where I'm standing now, Dominus.
Yeah, you tell him. Talk to Diala. Jedna blonda se mi tam vyje. Oh, hi.
You have mounted the summit of the Empire, not a cockroach. You have crushed the bug emperor and wiped his maggot dreams from the skin of Rayclast. Dominus exiled you, naked and alone, unto the palm of death. But you would not die, would you? No. No. You cuddled death, promised it the world, made it your consort, and so generously shared it with all your fleeting friends here in Rayclast. Not once did you forget what you were. Not a cockroach feeding on the corpse of the dead empire, like the pests you crushed as you walked. A woman, The sort of woman that planted the seed of this empire right here in Sarn so long ago. What teetering and twisted life it still holds dear, this land owes to you, Scion.
To kill a man like Dominus, that's an accomplishment worthy of Kaum, my greatest ancestor. Were we in Namakanui, I'd make you a Makanga, an honored warrior. But we are not in Namakanui. We dwell in a city of death, and my respect is all the honor I can bestow on you. You have claimed the most worthy of prey, Makoru. Piety and Dominus, the harbingers of nightmare. I'm not saying the war is over, but you've given Rayclast a much-needed respite. Because of you, this land lives to see another dawn.
Of course, there will be more. You know that, don't you? Emperors. Avaricious little pests scrabbling to steal the legacy of their betters. Unless we burn that legacy, sear its infection from the flesh of existence. Go north, my lovely unbug. Go to Highgate, to the beginning of the end. Dive headlong into the nightmare sea. Catch and roast yourself a nice big fishy.
Yep. No, jdeme vstříc všem nočním můrám. Tak, you've killed exit. You may now exit to the top of the subterranean to access the aqueduct. Everything is done. Boom. Čtvrtý akt. The aqueduct.
I've killed the puppet. Now I just need to follow the strings to his master.
Yep. The Eternal Nightmare. Go to Highgate. Travel there to learn. Highgate bude tady. Velká hora, ze které vzešlo ta noční můra a ten Nightmare Beast, který přeměňuje všechno v zombíky a mutanty. To všechno je v té hoře nějakým způsobem. Nebo jestli to ta hora samotná. Tak tam vejdeme dovnitř a uvidíme, co zjistíme. Ale to bude všechno v dalším aktu, takže na tomhle akvaduktu se s vámi rozloučím. Takže see you later.